Disposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife now back behind bars tonight after appearing in federal court just this afternoon.
The two pled not guilty to the charges against them. They're facing narco-terrorism charges and a slew of other federal charges. It was the first time the two went before a judge since being arrested. The U.S. decision to capture them Saturday has drawn support and criticism from various lawmakers. Independent Senator Angus King spoke this morning on CNN. He praised the military for its action against Maduro, but questioned President Donald Trump's motives.
So it's very unclear what the motivation was here, particularly if they talk about drugs, because a month and a half ago, President Trump pardoned the president of Honduras, who was an even bigger drug runner than Maduro's.
King says not all senators have been formally briefed on the situation yet, but he does expect more information to come Wednesday. Meanwhile, other members of Maine's congressional delegation are also speaking out.
Our Phil Hirschkorn spoke today with Senator Susan Collins, who has returned to Washington now for the start of the new congressional session tomorrow. Phil joins us live this afternoon with more on that conversation. Hi, Phil.
Hey, Brian and Amanda, Happy New Year. Just spoke to Senator Collins in her office up there in Washington. And, you know, after the military raid on Saturday, she said Venezuelan President Maduro was a ruthless dictator and an illegitimate ruler. Today, she told me she agrees with the seizing of Maduro based on the federal charges against him, that pending indictment for narco-terrorism and drug trafficking. Collins noted that even the Biden administration had offered a $20 million reward for information leading to Maduro's capture or arrest, and that 60 other nations didn't view him as a valid president after he literally stole last year's election, losing but refusing to concede or leave office. However, in my interview, Collins told me the more complicated question is what happens next, and she does not agree with the idea promoted by President Trump that we, the United States, will quote unquote run Venezuela.
Venezuelans need to run Venezuela. That is not the job of the United States. It doesn't mean that we don't provide assistance along with other international partners and the private sector to help the country get back on its feet. The legitimate winner of the last election, who just recently received a Nobel Peace Prize, has been in exile, but within the country. So she is a potential leader.
Senator Collins went on to tell me she doesn't want to see a long-term military action in Venezuela, nor in some other countries that President Trump has mentioned in our hemisphere, like Colombia or Greenland. Collins said she would take another look at a bill that would prohibit further action unless Congress passes a vote authorizing the use of military force. She voted against that proposal in November, and I'll have more from my interview with Senator Collins coming up at 5:30. Amanda and Brian.
All right, Phil, thank you. Meanwhile, millions of Americans are hoping for a way home after flights to and from the Caribbean were canceled over the weekend due to that military effort to capture the Maduros.
Despite the Federal Aviation Administration now lifting a airspace restriction, airlines still struggling to catch up with that demand. NBC's Tom Costello reporting tonight some families are left stranded.
More than 48 hours after the U.S. Maduro operation, thousands of Americans remain stranded abroad, with airlines scrambling to catch up following temporary airspace restrictions over parts of the Caribbean and Venezuela.
San Juan Center airspace is closed for the next 24 hours for military operations.
Those restrictions, triggered by military operations, lifted Sunday, impacting more than a dozen airports and forcing more than 1,000 flight cancellations. The disruptions piling up and causing chaos.
It's been a mess. We've been delayed more than 6 hours.
At Miami International Airport, a hub for Latin American and Caribbean flights, many passengers left frustrated and confused.
These people are all waiting to figure out where their bag is at.
After more than 100 flights in Miami were canceled on Saturday, which resulted in baggage delivery delays and rebooking congestion in the immediate aftermath of Operation Absolute Resolve, America's attack in Venezuela. Radar shows flights steering clear of the restricted areas.
I don't know that anyone anticipated waking up to something like this, but I would really like to get home.
The temporary restrictions during one of the busiest weekends of the year after the long holiday stretch.
I'm specifically in St. Vincent, and they said we cannot leave until either Thursday or Friday. The price gouging is crazy because we've been seeing flights for like $3,000.
Nearly 600 miles away from Caracas, Venezuela, the Schwartz family was stuck in St. Bart's trying to get back home.
There are no flights from here. The boats are booked. It's total chaos here.